1984, Joanna Stingray, a young singer from Beverly Hills, heard that Boris Grebenschikov was a talented poet and rock musician. She decided to travel to Leningrad to seek him out.
10 seconds into his music, I totally understood that he was this magical artist. I really saw right away how important he was. His music was not released officially. It was not sold in any stores. This was all from word of mouth and from the copying of cassette tapes.
They formed a close friendship. Joanna Stingray became an intimate of many of the key figures of the underground rock scene that was emerging in Leningrad. She frequently brought instruments and recording equipment from the US to her bohemian rocker friends in Russia, and she became the first American producer of Russian rock musicians.
Joanna was serving as an angel. She was providing us with everything, and the whole of Leningrad Rock Club, all the best bands were obliged to her because she would make life bearable. She was bringing like tape machines and guitars and strings and this and that, and everybody used that.
Stingray also befriended Victor Tsoi of Kino. She documented rare glimpses of a growing rock movement at a time when the government began softening its attitude about rock and roll.
When you were underground, you were not legally allowed to play music as your job and get paid for it. They were allowed to perform at the Leningrad Rock Club, which was a club that was established in Leningrad for these so-called unofficial bands, which is what the Soviet government liked to call them. The bands that I'd seen in Leningrad, they all had a different style. It was a very artistic time. It reminded me of America in the 60s. So to imagine that that's happening in a country under communism was unbelievable. But there was another level of kind of a game going on, because the KGB did have ties to the rock club. I think they believed that it was better to allow there to be a club or space where these underground bands could perform, that then they can keep an eye on them.
We encourage these clubs, but we use them as a source of information to weed out potential troublemakers, just to keep them under control and, in a sense, watch them so that they would not deviate further from that rock and roll. Because the organizers and managers of these clubs were KGB informers.
Joanna Stingray produced Red Wave, the first release of Soviet rock music in the United States.
The KGB, I knew that they were unhappy with Red Wave and other things. I remember telling Boris once, who told me the KGB was asking him all the time about me and trying to find out from him, is she a spy? And Boris trying to explain, no, she just loves our music. She wants to show the West our music. And I remember telling Boris, you know what, Boris, just tell them I want to come meet them. Just tell them I want to meet them. And the KGB headquarters in Leningrad was in what they called the big house. And I remember Boris coming back and saying, oh my gosh, I told them you want to meet them. And they all freaked out. No, no, don't tell her to come here.
You said to me, you consider yourselves as punks. Is that true?
Yes. I figured that in the modern world, it's the only way to express one's alienation from the world, from the life we lead.
The popularity of rock and roll had grown to the point where millions of teenagers had become fans of this forbidden music. These young people could not understand why their government wouldn't permit them to enjoy the music they loved.
Rock and roll was a way to express their views in criticizing the government, demanding change. These are the kinds of things that finally made an impression on Gorbachev, who brought about these desired changes within the Soviet Union.